The Rivals of Amziah King is a neo-western crime thriller film written and directed by Andrew Patterson. Deep within the backwoods of rural Oklahoma, charismatic and musically gifted Amziah King herds a bluegrass playing band of misfits while overseeing the premier honey-making operation in town. When Amaziah's estranged foster daughter unexpectedly returned, Amaziah leaps at the possibility to renew connection and create a family business. But the honey game is ruthless, and Amaziah's rivals threaten to destroy everything that he's built. This will be a spoiler-free review, but before we get into it, have you seen The Rivals of Amziah King? If you have, what did you think about it? If not, have you even heard of the movie before? Let me know down in the comments below, and without wasting any more time, let's just jump straight into it. Starting off with the good, the music of this film is excellent. To my surprise, this movie is, at least for the first half of the movie, feels like a lot more like a musical than I would have ever expected it to be. I think I can remember people saying there's some singing moments in the movie, so I wasn't completely unaware of them going into the film. But to the extent the movie goes with it was surprising to me. So much so the movie starts off with a little singing moment where we're introduced to a lot of the side characters and also our main character, Amziah King. It's a very fun and more energetic way of introducing us to these characters than I would have thought the movie was going to do. The music that they sing and play is excellent throughout the movie, but that doesn't mean the score the movie has is slouching either. Everything feels like it would be a song the band that Amaziah and his friends would be playing at a little get-together or potluck, which they love in this movie. The music feels like it's moving the movie forward, and every time a new song is being played or revisiting an older song, it's very nice, and I couldn't get enough of the movie's soundtrack and their original music that they sing throughout it. It was really nice, and it's very well done and very well sung. Everyone in this movie is acting really well. From people who are in only a few scenes to the characters who are the main focal point, nobody feels like they're wasting their time on screen. Each person plays the role they're supposed to play, and everyone feels so unique from one another. Nobody feels like they're just playing Town Person 1 or Town Person 2. Maybe there's a few in the scenes where it's just a big get-together with a lot of extras, but every character who has a decent-sized role within the film feels unique and not just a copy and paste of another character. Some of the standout side characters are Komar. He makes an instant impression on the audience early on in the film, so much so that it'll probably stay with you a bit after leaving the theater because of what happens to him. You have Amaziah's bandmate Steven, the main vocalist, powerful voice. You then have Pirate, the barefooted toe-tapping violinist. Rippy, who also doubles as Amaziah's lawyer. This band is so great together and makes some good quality music. They even get Komar in on playing his banjo later on in the film. There are three side characters that stand out more to me than the others, though. You have Chimmy, who is Amaziah's pretty much ride-or-die character. He does everything for him, working at the processing plant and just helping out where he can. He's a wonderful character, even if you can't really understand him that well. It makes him unique in a funny way, but he's never looked at like the clown of the movie. And then we get Remick, an ex-employee of Amaziah's who helped him in the beginning of the movie and isn't really brought back up until halfway through the film. And when he's brought back, he's a super solid and outstanding guy doing anything he can to with help with the situation that they're in, even to the point where he might get in trouble with the law, even though he's on probation. And last but not least, you get Kurt Russell playing Dodd McCoy, the dubious businessman who seems to have done some shady stuff. I was kind of surprised by Russell. I thought he was going to be more of a major part of this film, but he really wasn't. But when he is in the film, he's not even that bad of a guy. Sure, he's done some shady business stuff and potential crimes that were never shown, only told. But what we're shown is that he's just a guy who's part of his community and helping them all out. Much like Amaziah, he loves and takes care of his ailing wife and doesn't seem like a cover, even though he's doing all these awful things in the back the town without anyone's knowing. To me, he's very much like Amaziah in that way and served as a great mirror for what he could have been if he decided to go a more sinister path of his life. Now, I haven't talked about two people in this film, and to me, they give the stand-up performances easily. Everyone else does an excellent job, and they play such a big role, even if it seems small. But these two, man, I can tell you they're in another league compared to everyone else, and they really should be. The whole movie centers around them and their characters. But Matthew McConaughey as Amaziah and Angelina Lookingglass as Kateri, I don't think this movie would work as well as it does without either of these two performances. They are the foundation of everything that happens around them, and they're just so wonderful. It's one thing to get one standout performance in your movie, but getting two of them is even more outstanding, and I wouldn't be surprised if their names are brought up a lot come award season next year. Matthew McConaughey, what can I say about his performance that hasn't been said probably 1,000 times over at this point? He is so freaking amazing in this movie, fully immersing himself in this character and everything that entails. From his love of his community, his friend group, and the people that he's constantly hanging around, and obviously his bees and his honey business. All the mannerisms that Matthew does, singing, the playing of his mandolin while he's with his band, and his deep connection to everyone around him breathes through his performance. There's so much warmth in this performance that I haven't felt in such a long time. I can't even begin to think of a performance. Maybe Ryan Gosling's character in Project Hail Mary, but even then it's very different kind of warmth that you get from this performance. Matthew McConaughey totally loses himself in the role of Amziah King in the best ways possible. Because of his performance, I felt like I was being welcomed into the community that they have. Like I was going along for the ride and seeing what's going to happen next with them. I can't see any other actor playing Amziah and being as outstanding as McConaughey is. So much of this movie hinges on his performance, and he's absolutely knocked it out of the park. I do wish we had more time with him in the movie, but what we get is truly something special, and I am still in awe of it a few days after seeing it, and I'm just constantly thinking about how wonderful it was and how great Matthew was throughout. It was probably one of the best performances of a leading actor this year so far. Angelina Lookingglass as Katari is really great as well, so much so that it surprised me to learn that this was her debut role. She is Amaziah's old foster daughter who comes back to town after a period of time. While she is her own character, she feels like an expansion of Amaziah himself, and you can tell that her time staying with him when she was younger rubbed off on her in many different ways. Her ideals, her wants, her needs all feel in line with him, while also expanding upon them to be her own person and not just like a mini Amaziah. She's willing to do whatever it takes to defend what's hers and even get stuff back. In the second half of the film, she becomes more of the focal point, and it's interesting to see how she truly differs from Amaziah. While they both want and care about these same things, what she's willing to do separates her from her old foster parents. She's willing to do what she believes is right, even if it means breaking the law. She's willing to play dirty, do morally questionable things, all in the pursuit of achieving what she feels is justice. And it's very interesting to see the people around her just rally behind her. She and Amaziah both have the same kind of energy, love, and respect from the community around them that they're willing to do anything for them. While Amaziah seems to be more on the right side of the law from what we're shown, she's more than willing to toe the line between what's right and wrong. This is an excellent debut performance from her, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be seeing a lot more of her in the next few years if Hollywood is actually doing what they should be doing, rewarding those who have great performances and then continue to get work from for many years on. She is excellent, and this debut is fantastic. I think that there's a lot that you can take away from the Rivals of Amziah King, but the main thing that is very apparent to me, at least, and the film is very much on board with this, is how finding community is one of the most important things you can do. Albeit via your immediate family members or the people you surround yourself with on the daily, or just the town that you're a part of. There seems to be a reoccurring theme with movies that are going on nowadays, and this is one of them. I personally say this movie does it better than the vast majority of them. I say that mainly because they don't go about it showing you why isolation can be harmful. They do the exact opposite. They show you all the positives that come about finding the right people. They show you the highs and the lows, but it's always better with good people surrounding yourself with. This to me is far more compelling than showing the dangers of isolation. It's something a lot of people don't need to see in action. They probably already feel it on a day-to-day basis. But showing and essentially becoming part of this community for the 2-hour and 10-minute runtime just did something for me. There's nothing wrong with showing the isolation and all that, but from time to time you need to show the positives of what community actually looks like, and that come from not isolating yourself. And the Rivals of Amziah King does that wonderfully for me. Before I finish with the good, I just want to say the movie's shot really well. Everything feels like it has a purpose, and when it lingers on a shot, it just builds up the tension that it's going for really well. The sound design is also well done and just enhances everything that's happening throughout the movie. So much can go wrong if the sound design is just a bit off, and I'm glad that isn't the case here. The movie to me feels like something fresh while also feeling like you're catching up with an old friend. This movie from start to finish kept me entertained, and especially the second half of the film kept me guessing what's going to happen next. It felt new yet familiar in all the best ways, just like Tuner from earlier this year, which is one of my favorites as well. This kind of project is what movies are made for, giving you that once in a lifetime experience, seeing something you'd never even think of, reflect on it, and what it truly means to you. The Rivals of Amziah King is a special movie, and I don't have anything really negative to say about the movie, but I do want to talk about one thing that might throw some people off, and I can 100% understand it. So with that being said, moving on to the mix, I don't have much to say, and the more I think about the movie and let it sit with me, the more this has become less and less of an issue for me. But that being said, I can 100% see why it's an issue for a lot of people. But the first hour or so of this movie is pretty much a slice of life drama. We're experiencing the life with these characters, and the actual plot of the movie doesn't move forward at all. And as soon as the movie's plot actually starts to pick up again, the feel of the movie changes drastically. Now, I've seen a lot of people say this is where the film lost them, and I can totally understand that. Going from, like I said, a slice of life drama for what feels like the first hour, making you totally invested in the characters and just wanting to enjoy your time with them and see what they do next in their day-to-day life, to this neo-Western crime thriller is a pretty jarring tonal shift, and depending on how much you were invested in the first hour, you might just not be interested in the second half at all. But to me, I think that makes the second half of the film much more interesting, is the investment that I had because of the first hour. The movie's main plot is brought up within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, then it's dropped completely after that until a certain point. So it's not like the movie is not interested in it at all, but it gives you the intrigue of what's happening behind the scenes, in the background. They put it in your brain, but then the movie puts it on the back burner to slow cook while we're invested in the characters and their lives. But because we spent all that time with them, it's very clear what the movie is trying to say and show you through the second half of the film, without all that setup and actually making you care about what happens to these characters and this community that they built together. You should care a lot more what happens in the second half of the film. Everything that happens from then on is because of the theme and the connection to the community has to one another. The actual plot just wouldn't work as much without all that setup and the exploration of these characters' relationships with one another. I loved how the movie is paced and how they show everything visually. That plays directly into what happens into the second half of the movie, and to me makes it more powerful and interesting. So I'll say this, if you do think this movie is just going to be a straight up crime thriller movie, you're going to probably be a bit disappointed with the movie, just because it's way more than a crime thriller film. That was just the way to reel you into the film and get you into the seat. I can understand it if people are disappointed with the second half completely, and I was kind of on the fence about it, but after I sat with it longer and longer, it just clicked more and more for me. But like I said, if it's not what you wanted from the movie, I can completely understand it. But if you go in with the right mindset, first hour, slice of life drama, second half is the neo-Western crime thriller bit, everything can start to click a little bit more, I would say. The Rivals of Amziah King could have just been another run-of-the-mill crime thriller with a talented cast around it to try to elevate it, but to my surprise, we got a touching tale of what building a community looks like, doing right by them so they'll do right by you, and what happens when you piss off the wrong person within that community. It's lovely. I was expecting a completely different film, and I'm glad we didn't get that version that I was thinking. The Rivals of Amziah King gets a 10 out of 10 for me. This movie is really special. It's just another reason why the movies are so magical. Think you're getting one movie, but then you get something so much better than you could have ever have expected. This is definitely a movie worth watching on the big screen if you can. And if you can't, keep it on your radar for whenever it gets its digital, physical, or streaming release. I don't think you'll be disappointed with what you'll be getting out of this movie. But that's about it for me. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with my latest reviews. And until next time, have a great rest of your day.